You can fly to Florida, stay in 90-degree heat, sweat through your shirt in November, and still somehow not feel like you're in the tropics. Now, if you fly to Hawaii, the second you walk out of the airport, boom, you're in Jurassic Park. Same country, same swimsuit, completely different planet, and I've spent way too long wondering why. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Here's the thing that's been rattling around in this empty head of mine. When I go to Hawaii and rent a house, an Airbnb, whatever, the yards are surrounded by these enormous, gorgeous, broadleaf tropical plants, 6, 7, 8 feet tall, big, dramatic leaves, brilliant colors. A lot of the time they look wet, like glistening, like it just rained on them, and it's always just rained on them. They wall off the properties. They make this beautiful natural barrier between the houses, and the whole place feels like a rainforest that happens to have Wi-Fi. Then I go to other places that we also call tropical, Florida, even Southern California. And sure, there are palm trees there, palm trees everywhere. But nobody's got those big, tall, flowering bushes, those broadleaf monsters. I couldn't even tell you the names of half of those Hawaiian plants, but there's something rainforesty about it, something jungle that Hawaii just has and the mainland spots just don't seem to get. And I finally wanted to know, is that a landscaping choice, or do those plants literally not survive out here on the continent? So I dug into it. And the answer is, well, a little of both. And it's mostly one thing though, and that one thing is probably going to surprise you. Let me start with the plants themselves, because knowing what they are explains everything. Those big glistening show-offs are mostly things like Heliconia. I hope I'm saying that right. You know them as lobster claws, these wild hanging red and yellow flowers that look fake. And tea plants, the ones with the deep burgundy and green leaves that scream, "You are on vacation." And here's the key fact about every single one of them. They are not frosty hardy, not even a little bit. These plants want nighttime temperatures to stay above 50 degrees, and they start throwing a tantrum, going dormant, dying the moment it gets cold. Heliconia in particular basically shuts down below 50 degrees, and real frost will knock out the whole plant to the ground. And that is the whole ballgame, because here's the thing people get wrong about the tropics. Everybody focuses on the same daytime high temperatures. Florida's hotter than Hawaii. Yeah, it is. In the afternoon, in July, Florida will cook your ass. But these plants don't care about your afternoon high. They care about the low. They care about what happens at 4 in the morning in January. And that is the one thing Hawaii has that almost nowhere on the mainland does. Let me give you the number that explains your entire vacation. In Honolulu, the average winter night, the cold part of the year, barely dips below 65 degrees, ever. Hawaii basically doesn't have a season where it gets cold at night. The ocean is wrapped all the way around those islands like a giant thermostat, and water is really slow to change temperature, so it just refuses to let the islands get cold. Daytime, nighttime, summer, winter, it all stays in this absurdly narrow bathwater warm band. Those plants never get the memo that winter happened, so they just keep going, keep growing, keep glistening all year, every year until they're 8 feet tall and gorgeous like me. Now, here's Florida. Florida is genuinely tropical at the very bottom. The Keys, Miami, the southern tip of it, but most of Florida is subtropical, which is a fancy way of saying it's paradise one night a year when it very much isn't. Florida gets cold snaps. So every so often, a mass of cold air slides down from the north. The temperature drops into the 30s overnight, and that one night is an execution for Heliconia. You can baby that plant for 3 years, get it 8 feet tall, and one freak February frost will take it right to the dirt. And Florida gardeners literally deal with this. They throw sheets over these plants. They dig up the rhizomes. They haul them into greenhouses for the winter, like tucking in a very needy tropical child. Hawaii people never have to think about any of this, not once, not ever. In California is a whole different flavor of no. Southern California barely gets frost near the coast, so cold isn't really the killer there. Their problem is the other thing these plants need. Remember when I said that the plants always look wet, like they're glistening? That's not a coincidence. That's not landscaping, that's humidity. That is a place where warm, wet ocean air is constantly blowing over the land and it actually rains. Hawaii's windward sides get soaked. Some spots on Kauai pull down over 400 inches of rain a year, one of the wettest places on planet Earth. California has that classic Mediterranean climate. Dry, 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 especially in the summer. So even when a Californian gets the temperature right, the air is a desert compared to a rainforest. Heliconia can technically be grown in a dry place. People do it in Arizona, believe it or not, but they've got to stand out there misting the things twice a day like they're running a tiny personal jungle. The plant is possible, it's just fighting the whole environment the entire time. So to answer the question that I was originally wrestling with, is it landscaping or is it climate? It's climate first, landscaping second. The reason you don't see these plants on the mainland isn't mostly that nobody's choosing to plant them. It's that in most of these warm places, the plant would still need somebody to save its life every winter, or hydrate it by hand every summer, or both. Hawaii is one spot flying the American flag where the climate just does all of that for free 365 days a year with zero effort. No sheets, no greenhouses, no water misters. The islands are just one giant, perfectly climate-controlled greenhouse with the ocean paying the utility bill. But, and this is the part I love, it can be done with enough money and stubbornness. I once stayed at a hotel resort called Paradise Point in San Diego. It's out on the bay, and to me it felt more tropical, more lush, more removed than the usual vacation spots. And I was right to notice that because that is exactly proof of the point. A resort like that has the budget, full-time grounds crew, irrigation running constantly, and the whole thing is tucked away against the water where it's a little warmer and a lot more humid. They are basically buying the Hawaiian climate one sprinkler head at a time. So the plants aren't impossible to grow on the mainland. They're just expensive and high maintenance instead of the free and automatic stuff that most people like. That resort felt special precisely because somebody paid a lot of money to fake what Hawaii does for nothing, which, when you think about it, is the real luxury of Hawaii. It's not that they have plants you can't get, it's that they get them effortlessly. The whole place looks like that with zero fight, and a good landscaper there isn't battling the climate. They're just decorating inside the best greenhouse on earth. That to me is totally fetch. So, the next time you're standing in that Airbnb yard surrounded by 8-foot lobster claws that look like they got dipped in water, you'll know. It's not the landscaper flexing, it's the ocean. Peter Von Panda, out.